The Daily Ironman Show with Ironman Daily is Ironman Daily. Ironman Daily. Got the notice that it's officially spring, which means there is a Easter Bunny event going on in, how do you pronounce it? Gleanor? I forget how to pronounce the place. But one thing you can be sure of is that I'm sure I had something more to say. I was going to say something about Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is just another patriarch trying to steal your attention away from your mother. He's saying, look how much I love you. Look what I'm willing to do, what I'm willing to go through for you because I love you so much. And this forms a parallel, an analogy with childbirth, where, like, if you think about men and women and how humans reproduce, like, it's a lot easier for the men to do it because they don't have to go through childbirth. They just have to bust a load. Like, they just have to hit it raw, and now you have a human legacy. Whereas women, like, it's a huge ordeal. It's an emergency. There's blood everywhere. Who knows, right? I've never actually... It's disgusting. Childbirth is not I don't like it. But, and I've heard it's very painful. I've heard it's very painful for the women when they give birth to children. Especially for humans. Because our heads are so big. We got swollen melons, as they say, that have brothers gelling because our melons are so swollen. Got a swell melon. You've got a swell melon on your head, friend. I'm gonna wait until I get to the next spot because this guy just teleported out. I'm running the laundry. I just got home from a weekend trip. I was away for a few days. So I was talking about how Jesus... another thing, on a related note, as it relates to Christianity, is the idea of human innocence. So, like, conventionally, from a legal perspective, you think that, like, innocence is when... what is this? These guys doing? Planting seeds? Innocence is when you're not guilty. Like, you're innocent until proven guilty. So innocence, in that sense, is like a default thing. Like, people are just innocent automatically, and it's only until you show that you're guilty rather than innocent that you lose your innocence, such as by, like, committing a crime. But you could be innocent or guilty of anything. And so, you, like, say for example, I had a fudge brownie that I was going to eat later. I had a fudge brownie that I was going to eat later. I was going to eat it later. Eat the fudge brownie later, and I put it on the table so I would remember to eat it later. And then I decide to eat it later, and so, like, whether or not I do, I can be innocent or guilty of doing that thing, eating a brownie later. So whether or not I eat it later, if I do eat it later, I'm guilty of that. If I don't eat it later, I'm innocent of, I'm innocent of eating the brownie later, if I didn't eat it later. But I could be guilty of something else, right? Who knows? So legally, we just assume that people are innocent. But in Christianity, the assumption is that you're actually guilty. You're always guilty, and there's some consequence for that. So this is the idea, as they say, it's called original sin, and the idea is that there was a sin that was committed long ago, early on in our lineage, where these two people in a garden ate a fruit that they were not supposed to eat, and it gave them like the divine power, basically, to know right from wrong, to have a sense of ethics. So our ability to sense objective morality comes from this mistake, and that mistake is like it's something bad that we're guilty of, and it's inherited. So it gets passed on from generation to generation. And the way you can think of this from a naturalist point of view is that we're going down an evolutionary path. And at some point in our path's history, something happened that made the nature of our existence very bad. And so it's inherited. Like you understand in how evolution, like traits are inherited through genes. So we have genetic traits as human beings that are basically like this bad quality, like the quality of being guilty of a mistake that happened. Like somebody in our ancestry survived when they should have perished, and now we have to suffer the consequences of that because we have their genes. So that's the idea. Everybody's guilty. It doesn't mean you did anything. It's just the way you are. You're just automatically guilty. And I had more to say about this because this relates to a few other things. On the topic of innocence, like how innocent are people in a general sense? And this relates to objective morality as well, because people who believe in objective morality might tend to say things are right or wrong regardless of the consequences. Like a deontology, there's like some moral rules, some rules of ethics. Corporal B's pet, by the way. That guy's swelling melon has got me gelling. Yeah. Ironman Daily. I did have more to say about this. I'm just going to run around the RuneScape world while I think about it. I started this off by like rambling about like eating a fudge brownie later, which was just the stupidest way to go about it. I didn't really stay on point with what I was trying to talk about. I'd forgotten my continuation for this. It's about the topic of innocence and how if you wrong somebody who is a bad person, like who is not innocent, like innocence is like being a good person and guilt is like being a bad person. So if you're guilty, you're a bad person, but if you're innocent, you're a good person, right? Understand where I'm coming from here. So how do we use this? Here's a clear example we can use to explain. You steal from somebody, and so whether or not stealing makes you guilty or innocent of being a bad person, like whether or not it makes you guilty of being immoral, it depends on who you stole from. That's the theory here. It's like if you rob somebody who's a bad guy, does that absolve you of the bad thing you did that was robbing someone? Is robbing in and of itself a bad thing, or does it depend on your victim? The idea is that it's like this harmful thing and people don't deserve to be harmed automatically. And so that is the problem with Christianity. It says that you deserve bad things automatically. You deserve it automatically because of original sin. So this is a huge problem. Like we need to preserve the idea that people don't deserve bad things to happen to them. Isn't it? Isn't that important? Anyways, let me know your thoughts, because there are certainly a lot of benefits as well to having like everybody be guilty automatically, because no matter what bad things happen to you, it's perfectly acceptable. You understand that it's simply the punishment for your crime of having original sin. And so once you understand that you deserve all the bad things coming to you, suddenly it gives value to this idea that you need to be saved from this trouble. You need to be delivered from sin. And so without that, if you don't deserve bad things to happen to you, is there some problem there? No, that's perfectly normal. There's plenty cultures that have survived where you aren't in this situation where you deserve to suffer automatically. Like, it's perfectly fine that you just be a good person. Like, you don't have to feel like you're guilty, right? Is that what I'm saying? Lost in the THC. Whoops. Anyways, thanks for watching Ironman Daily. I'm gonna come back another time when I'm ready to do this again. Cheers, my friends.